Hey there, friends. Good morning. Day 288. Here we are, and I hope you're ready to get started. How am I doing? I'm doing alright. I feel fine. A bit later than usual this Saturday morning or Friday night, depending on where you are, because I had um, a little outing last night. And as I'm saying this, I realize that more and more frequently these kinds of things have been happening lately. So something's changing in the demands um, my social context and my work life is putting on me. However, this year we are going to continue with the morning live streams and the morning workouts because that's what we've committed to 2024. But hey, um, I think something is changing in a positive way, by the way. How do I feel? I feel all right. I had a couple of beers last night, three, um, over the course of, what was it, 5 p.m. till 9:30 p.m. So um, I was a bit worried that I would wake up feeling super groggy and super out of it, but turns out that I'm doing quite all right. I wonder how that will be later on in the day, but we will see. I also managed to eat a double Whopper yesterday. So if you think, he looks different today, maybe I am just a little bit tired and slightly a slight change in my diet may have caused me to not sleep as well as I would normally do. But besides that, I feel fine. It is 5:50 a.m. in the morning here, and we are about to get started with some mobility and light kettlebell work. Evalis, good morning. Saturday greetings right back to you. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I hope you've slept well and that you're having a good day, a good Saturday, as I think Saturday already started for you a while back. So in any case, today is also going to be a fun day. I slept really well, but today is also going to be a fun day because I'm teaching my first in-person kettlebell class at my local gym for fun. So that's going to be interesting. And I have a nice idea to fill the 45 minutes, so that's going to be good. And I look forward to doing that actually. Let's see how that goes. It's a small group class. We're going to walk them through some of the basic techniques, and we're going to do some basic exercises, and we're just going to have some fun today. Um, yeah, for those of you who are watching and dropping by for the first time, not you, Evalis, you know the story, but my name's Toby. I am 40 years old and I try to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life, and I hope to be able to do that well into my 90s. Apparently, I might live to be 100, according to all the statistics, and I would like to be able to be doing the things that I'm doing when I'm in my 90s. Um, this is not about the way I look, this is all about the way I feel. I am more vested in feeling strong and capable than anything else, and that is why I mind my sleep, mind what I eat, I mind my strength training, my conditioning training, both with kettlebells and running. Tomorrow morning I'm going running again, and I try to mind my mobility, all kinds of mobility exercise, and I'm also currently working with a physiotherapist on some mobility issues in my left shoulder, which are slowly but surely getting better and better over time. Um, and I also think that quite a few of us, if we're watching these videos or following online, because that's what I did, been doing for a long time, is that we're on some sort of a journey. And maybe that journey is to become healthier. Maybe that journey is towards weight loss. Maybe that journey is like me right now towards longevity. And you can go through different journeys in different stages in life. The most important thing to realize is that we're good just the way we are today. And we've just got to love ourselves before we can move on, because it's the person we are right now that's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. So a bit of kindness to ourselves goes a long, long way. And the only way to get anything done, friends, is by showing up and doing the work. So I am going to get started. And in the meantime, on the chat, please feel free to say hello. Let me know how you're doing, where you're dialing in from, if you're into any kind of sports or any other questions you might have. I talk about life. I talk about my career. I talk about being a father. I talk about being a man in today's world. I talk about raising men, children in today's world. There are many more topics that we can touch upon than just fitness and health and kettlebells if you want to. Breathing. Breathing in and the diaphragm, push everything out and down, filling that cavity. And exhaling. This is very hard to do for some people, but worth trying and learning. And then, of course, the famous neck. And there are different ways to train. Move your neck mobility. And this one. Also for the types of posture we want to hold with a neutral spine. It's very helpful to have an understanding where your body is. Your body is responding to certain movements. And we're going to do the hitchhiker. We're just going to move our arms up and down. I can feel a slight tweak in my left shoulder. Something that I need to be aware of throughout the day. Make one wrong movement to see, usually about a week, those kinds of aches and pains disappear. Very nice. And now we're going to go pick the apples from the tree. Or pears, or plums, bananas, or nuts, or leaves, whatever you feel like reaching up for. Go ahead and reach up for it. Go. There, nature be gone. I very much appreciate that. I don't know about ancient Greek gods, but maybe ancient Greeks who make the most of life. For sure. Thanks, Evalis. Thanks for making me smile again this morning. It's good to hear from you. Of course, the point of mobility is to move and to become better at the range of motion and controlled movement, which is slightly different from stretching, where we're trying to lengthen the muscle. It's worth remembering, of course. So anyway, given the fact that it is Saturday and we're here again, let's take a look at where we are in life. We all have goals, results we're after, many different areas, but generally my take on it has always been that you want to figure out the basics, the context, and create the environment in which you can thrive. And the way I've done that is to ask myself a number of questions over and over again throughout the years, and here's more or less what I've landed on. And I know it's pretty commonsensical, but you'll often find that figuring out life, despite the 10 million self-help books and the multi-billion-dollar self-help industry, is relatively straightforward. It's not easy because of the circumstances we might find ourselves in. It's complex and sometimes even complicated. But the fundamentals probably pretty much the same across many different philosophies or methods or bad ideas or good ideas, right? For me, it all starts with the state and shape of my health, and then I check in on my physical health, on my mental health, on my emotional health. I am not that spiritually inclined, but if that is something that you are vested and interested in, do check in on that. I mean, in that same list of health, I also check in on my financial health. Hey, how is my financial health doing? So, physical health, the markers that you might get in a hospital from a doctor, first of all. Am I free of illness and disease? Yes, all right. I on a trajectory physically that is going to keep me healthy and functional and free of illness and disease? The answer is yes. That's a good thing. Am I sleeping, eating, moving? Right? And this all also adds into my mental health, my emotional health. Do I have light thoughts or dark thoughts? And what frequency? Is the world a good place, a welcoming place, a place where there's opportunity? Or do I feel everything and everyone is against me? Do I feel safe or unsafe where I'm at, the people I am surrounded by. It's just questions to ask ourselves. Every once in a while, maybe every week, as you're listening to me, what kind of emotions do I experience regularly? Do I experience joy, sorrow, anger, frustration, hate, spite, jealousy, elation, appreciation, love, kindness, generosity? So these are, your emotional markers. And it's okay to experience everything once in a while. Everyone might get jealous or resentful, as well as joyful and grateful and happy. Overall, the balance and mix needs to be positive and good. So you need to just keep an eye on that for yourself. So anyway, check in on your health. And just, do I look good in the mirror? Can I run 30 kilometers non-stop? But really take a look at your health and well-being. Are you healthy? Are you free from all those impediments? And if not, it's probably an important place to start any kind of health and fitness journey. So anyway, that being said, we can look at, our relationships, our sense of belonging, the people we want to check in with and connect with over time, starting with our loved ones, children, spouse, direct family, and from there looking at closest friends, people we care about, people who appreciate us for who we are, people we appreciate for who they are, and who we can talk to. I had a great talk with a friend of mine last week who lives halfway across the world. We managed to find 30 minutes on the phone to talk to each other. And that was good. And I'm grateful that that relationship spanned the last 20 years of my life. Thankful that we have that between us. So checking in that sense, the people we care about, and also the communities that we're a part of, the people that we see and want to spend time with. How we are part of, for example, the community of colleagues at work, but also the street we live in, but maybe also an interest group or a sports club that we're a part of, or perhaps we volunteer somewhere, right? Or as simple as the 5 neighbors closest to me. Do we go out? Do we know each other? Can we have a conversation? That's what we did last night. First I had a work event, and then afterwards we had with some of the direct neighbors, everyone who could join. We just went out and had a drink. I had a beer, and we ate and talked about life, work, career. Well, it's important to just know your neighbors, have fun, have a good time, chat and talk. Doesn't have to be every week or every day. But once in a while, I can imagine, it can be quite useful and good, because let's say something does happen in the street, or you do need a hand once in a while, or a favor, or someone needs you. Do you know who to ask? Do they know who to ask? Do they dare ask? Yeah? It's our communities that we're a part of. And we've talked about this before a little bit, but in our life or our motivation, three things are relatively important. That is our sense of autonomy, our sense that we are the ones who are in charge, making decisions that will further our life. The second one is that we want to learn something and we want to become good at it. Hello there, thank you for dropping by. Putri Haspari, thank you for dropping by. I appreciate you coming by and saying hello. And what a kind message. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. And with what you're trying to do today and in general. I appreciate that. Thank you. So the second one is whether we're learning something or feeling that we're able to learn and do something new, a sense of mastery, development, growth. That's quite important. It's one of the reasons I think that kettlebells proven to be so much fun, because there's a lot of skill and learning involved in getting really good at them. And as you can see, I still have a lot to learn when it comes to kettlebells. So we've got that. So we've got autonomy, mastery, and now we come to the point of our communities, and that's belonging. We want to belong and be accepted as and contribute to a group. And it's important for us as people where we can survive individually. There are many things we can do individually. Just going to change the timers. But by and large, we are probably better off with groups. It seems to be more, or a good way for humans to get difficult things done when we collaborate and work together. So we're going to do light kettlebell exercises next. We're going to do flow, which is a deadlift, a row, a clean, a press, and a squat. And we're going to alternate that with two-handed swings, lightweight, 8 kilos. Let's see how that goes and feels. That is also something I'm going to have people do in my session later. So that's why I ask, whether, you feel you are part of any kind of community, feeling like you can contribute to it. This is the family unit, this is work, this is the street, this is a sports club, this is a volunteering organization, a reading club. So just keep that in mind as you go through life. Now the third thing I would check in on is my financial situation. And the financial situation, hey there, June Montina. Thank you very much for dropping by. And I appreciate you coming by and letting me know that I should speak a bit louder. Obviously, the third one that I would focus on is my financial situation. And what I mean by that is, I think there are some factors that we tend to forget when it comes to our health and well-being, and specifically the financial aspect of it. I'm not a financial advisor, but I think it is relatively commonsensical to understand and to keep in mind that regardless of our income, it is the cost of living in the area that we are in that determines how much we can do with the income we have. So what that means is we could have a relatively low-paying job, but be doing extremely well because the expenses that we incur to maintain the basic standard of living are incredibly low. But it could also be the other way around. In fact, for most people it is. They earn a decent amount of money, but because of the cost of living in terms of their house, utilities, gas, groceries, all those kinds of things, they're not able to create a financially stable baseline. So, as a rule, you just want to be able to put 10% of what you earn aside, if it were possible. And preferably, you'd want to be able to earn that with one job that takes up no more than 40 hours of your week. As a starting point. And once we have figured out the balance between where we want to live and how much that's going to cost versus how much we need to make, we start working on savings. And savings are saving for, first of all, an emergency, right? Second of all, once we have enough money set aside for a rainy day, which is about 3 to 4 months, for some people maybe 3 to 6 months of living expenses, we can start focusing on creating pot of money for our future. But again, you want to be aware of all three aspects and try to create a proper baseline for yourself. And by the way, like this baseline and wealth, unless you inherit it somehow, usually is built over a long, stable period, say 5 to 10 years. The nasty thing about it is that you can lose everything in a month, or a day, or a year. So you need to be very mindful of that for yourself. And I hope that June Montina, that I stopped mumbling and I am a bit more articulate on the video at the moment. So that being said, I think it's important for us to appreciate and realize that. And finally, the fourth check-in that I would do this Saturday. Oh, well, before we move on, by the way, it's not a fix it once and it stays the same forever. We're all aware of what's going on with the economy, with inflation around the world. What we need to come to terms with is that the part that we can own and be responsible for in life is the one that we need to stay and be responsible for in life. So let's just keep that in mind as we go before we move on to the third one, which is the pursuits or opportunities, because obviously financial security is tied to the job we have, but there are maybe other things in life that give us pleasure, a sense of joy. It doesn't necessarily have to be our job. What does that mean? That means that we might find a job that we enjoy and where our talents and ideals intersect, but we might also find a job that we do because we're good at it and we enjoy just enough to do the job, but there are other things that we want to pursue. So, for example, for me, one of my pursuits is making videos, as you may have noticed on my channel, and another pursuit I have is creative writing, which I just enjoy. Actually, creative writing and storytelling, something I've enjoyed all my life as a hobby. So I think that around both, right, there is a sense of autonomy. I get to choose what I do and do not enjoy or do. I get to invest time in them by going on courses or spending time making something. And I think it's important that around both there are fun communities everywhere around making videos. I'm connected with people who are interested in that. Around sports and kettlebell. I'm going to the gym where I'm teaching a class in a bit. Same goes for creative writing. So this way we come full circle from our own health and our connections with other people to our belonging and contribution and our personal growth again. I think it's just worth considering all of these aspects of our lives regularly. Maybe once a week, maybe once a month. Definitely more frequently than once a year, because we check in on these things once a month, we will be able to get more out of, be able to direct ourselves better towards certain outcomes that we want. The YouTube punk, there he is. Good morning, buddy. It's good to hear from you. How's life in Texas? By the way, can you hear me all right? Because someone said that I was probably speaking a bit too soft. So I hope you can hear me just fine. And let me know what life is like, where you're at in the world. We're just doing some light stuff today because I still feel that slight tweak in my left shoulder, and despite not really being injured, I want to give my right bicep just about enough time to fully recover from whatever I did to it the other day. David M. Now you can start your ABCs. You can do your ABCs while you listen to me and have me on, buddy. That's all right. That way we're working out together. It's going to be super fun. Thanks, David. And thanks, YouTube Punk, for letting me know that you can both hear me. And David, welcome back. Good to see you again. I hope you're doing all right. And that you are well where you are in the world. And YouTube Punk, the same goes for you. I hope that you are well wherever you are in the world. And if someone a year ago would have told me that an 8 kilo would feel so light while I was working it in deadlifts and presses over an extended period of time, I would have laughed, but progress can be made even at 44. Okay, so a quick check-in on our heart rate. See, we're nice in that zone 2, so it means we're working. My body has the idea that it's working, but it's not overexerting itself, which is right about where I would want to be at the moment. I got a couple more sets to go, so here we go. And remember, with this one, good form, using your muscles, even with a lightweight, is important, because good form is what makes sure we don't get injured while we're working out. 4 and 5 and 6. The way you might recognize this flow from my long form videos, where we're working towards 5 of these as you can see, can squeeze about 8 into a minute. But I would recommend 5 and taking the rest of the minute as a break as we're building up general strength and conditioning. Hoppa. And we've got two more to go before we're going to call it a day. That's the weight on my current kettlebell. This is an 8 kilo, the lightest one I own in this series, and the lightest one I use for training, if that helps you. Mildly serious. Oh, mildly serious. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for dropping by, and I hope you're doing well wherever you are and in the world, and that you're having a good day with whatever it is that you're doing. Thanks for dropping by and saying hi. So this, David, is an 8 kilo, and it's a weight that when I started off, if you go back to my videos, maybe to January, but I've also started to remove some shorts because the channel gets a bit cluttered otherwise. But if you look at those videos, I started working out with an 8 and I was always sweating, and I found it quite hard and difficult to work with a lightweight. I think I had a 6 and an 8 during that holiday in December and January, and now look at where we are. So it's important to keep in mind, using a 45, I love it, YouTube punk, you. That sounds like a good weight. And remember to stretch. I will. Thank you very much for reminding me. I appreciate that. And the last one here in this series for this morning. And then it's going to be time for a well-deserved cup of coffee. So anyway, the flow and swings, it's like a nice, simple and easy way to just get into the basics of kettlebell, because you'll end up doing all of these things one-handed, and at one point maybe even with rotation, if that has your fancy. So just, see this as a great way to lay a foundation for everything you might want to do with kettlebell in terms of basic strength and conditioning. But the power of the kettlebell obviously lies in the unilateral movement, loading, and the work your body needs to do to balance the forces being exerted upon it. And there we are. We are done for the morning, friends. I'm going to make myself a cup of coffee, and we're going to move on with the day. And it's going to be a good day. Thank you all for dropping by and for saying hello. Thank you all for being here, for being on the chat, and for being active. I really appreciate it. It makes this so much more fun to know what's on your mind, to hear from you, and when you make jokes or share some insight that makes me smile or laugh. Well, if you're too sore, sometimes we need a day to rest, deload, because we grow stronger when we're resting, not while we're training. Remember that. But you know best. And I know that you're a hard worker, that you're working on your goals. So keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. Listen to your body as you're on this journey. To everyone else, Ivalis, thank you for dropping by, being the first in. I hope you're having a good day where you are. Putri, Juan, YouTube Punk, David M, Miley Sirius, thank you so much for dropping by. For everyone else who's watching who maybe missed the beginning, my name is Toby. I am 40 years old and I'm on a mission to be active, self-sufficient and adventurous throughout my life, well into my 90s. And the way I'm going about that is I'm mindful about how much I sleep. I try to sleep 7 to 8 hours. But what I eat, try to eat healthy, home-cooked food 80-90% of the time. But as you may have heard this morning, I had a delicious Whopper yesterday with the sparkling water and just a Whopper. I try to work on my strength, on my conditioning, and on my mobility through kettlebells, weightlifting, running, and exercises that you can see me doing here on the channel. It's all about the way I feel, not about the way I look. So this is not about growing bigger, stronger, leaner, six-pack, bodybuilding. It's not about powerlifting either. It is simply about trying to be as healthy as I can be and maintaining a full use and function of my body. And I think on journeys like this, whether it's weight loss or muscle growth or strength improvements or endurance challenges or a mix of any of those, it's important to remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on, because it's the person we are today that is going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. And I think sometimes we forget that, and that causes a bit of stress and unnecessary resentment towards ourselves. Whereas we can collaborate with who we are today, we're actually going to get a lot further as we go down the line. Anyway, the only way to get anything done, friends, as YouTube Punk well knows, and Ivalis as well, is by showing up and doing the work. So thanks for dropping by today, and I will see you tomorrow, Sunday morning, for another stream before I go running. Take care, friends, and have a good day where you're at.